This is an IOG production. Well, all right. We going line upon line. We going line upon line. This line upon line. Precept upon precept. Yep. This is line upon line. All eve, all day, trying to find out what the books say. This is line upon line. Precept upon precept. Yep. This is line upon line. All eve, all day, trying to find out what the books say. Cause the Lord don't play. It was written, no time for debate. Time is short, no time for delay. See, I wanna make it. Because of that, a saint gotta read and take hold of facts. And if he choose not to, behold a rap. Cause God is not mocked, take note of that. From Genesis to Revelation. If they use not, they a child of Satan. And I ain't hating. In fact, I'm just speaking the truth. And this hop is in my blood, it's been there from a youth. So with witnesses, we coming with two. Testifying testimonies, it's the old and the new. Shining light on the book for those with no clue. It's the IOG, you know how we do. This is line upon line. All eve, all day, trying to find out what the books say. This is line upon line. Precept upon precept. Yup. This is line upon line.
Good evening and welcome again to another episode of Line Upon Line. We gonna give it to you with no chaser today, sisters and brothers. That is our job here on Line Upon Line, and we so glad to have you here today with us. And today, one of our guest teachers all the way from Pine Bluff, Arkansas, we have Brother AJ. What's up, AJ?
Peace and blessings, brothers.
Yeah, and we got reading for us, one of our top readers, Brother Tony Sowing, a.k.a. Tone Bone, affectionately. Tone Bone. And we're going to give it to you tonight, sisters and brothers. We got a good one tonight. And the title of the lesson tonight is The Lord Will Recompense. The Lord will recompense. And if you don't know what the word recompense means, the word recompense means the Lord, he will repay. He will repay. Because the thing about it, a lot of people are going about eating and drinking as they were in the day of Noah. And all of a sudden, they're going to know this thing is real, sisters and brothers. They're going to know it's real. And the Lord is sitting back like a lion, crouching like a lion. All that Lamb of God stuff, you better read it because you ain't going to never see it again. You ain't going to see it no more. He already died. He already took the nails in his hands on the cross for you. And that's it. It's lion time now. It's reaping time. And the Lord had poured out all of his word on this world, and 70% of the world ain't paying it no attention. And he don't like that. He don't like that. And the fact that he don't like that, he is upset. He is upset. Yeah, he that sweet Jesus, they ain't gonna pass. Because the next time you feel him, the next time you run up on some of his smoke, he gonna be recompensing. He gonna be repaying. So, Tone Bone, we're gonna start out with our namesake scripture, Isaiah the 28th chapter, my brother, and I want you to read verses 9 and 10. The namesake. When you get it, my brother, go ahead and read it.
Whom shall he teach knowledge, and whom shall he make to understand doctrine? Them that are weaned from the milk and drawn from the breast. For precept must be upon precept, precept upon precept, line upon line, line upon line, here a little and there a little.
Yes, sir. And that's how we do it. That's how we do it. Line upon line, here a little and there a little. We want you to get your Bibles out, get your pen and paper out, because it's time to go to school. See, that's what it's all about. People think that, when you go to church, you're supposed to, just have a good, nothing wrong with having a good time. Nothing wrong with having a good time at all. However, the main purpose is for you to learn how to get salvation and for you to learn what you have to do to protect you from that lion that's coming. Because he's coming, sisters and brothers. Right. And you're going to have to make sure that your linen is white. You're going to have on the right garments. And those garments is the righteousness that he laid out in his word, not your interpretation, in his word, sisters and brothers. And you got to remember that, you know, this God is a fearful individual. I mean, he is one that you need to fear. And I think Tom Bond and AJ, I think the fear of the Lord is a blessing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is.
It's a blessing to understand that you model yourself after what the Lord wants as opposed to what your flesh wants. And when you get to the point where you can bring your body, your mind, and everything about you under subjection, then you have began to do what you need to do to become spiritual. You even in the physical, you can begin to become spiritual, because the book said that the Lord is a spirit, and they that worship him must worship him in spirit, as in your mind, and in truth. In spirit and in truth. I don't know. That might get read tonight. I don't know. But what we're going to do, I'm going to go ahead and start it off, AJ.
All right,
so we're going to start it off in Galatians, the 6th chapter. Galatians chapter 6. Galatians 6. And we're going to read verses 3 through 7. Galatians 6, verses 3 through 7. When you get there, Tom Bone, go ahead and read it.
For if a man think himself to be something, when he is nothing, he deceiveth himself.
He deceiveth himself. If you think you are all that, so you can't think you up on this house, you know everything. But we gonna see. Go ahead.
But let every man prove his own work, and then shall he have rejoicing in himself alone, and not in another.
He gonna have rejoicing in himself because he know he has put in the work based on the work that the Lord told us to do. Based on, you know, when you keeping the commandments and when you're not. You know it, sisters and brothers. That's why Paul said that I have fought the good fight. I have stayed the course. And he knew it was going to be a crown later. How can he have that much confidence? Because he knew, sisters and brothers, that he put the work in. Go ahead, my brother.
For every man shall bear his own burden.
Every man gonna bear his own burdens. I can't bear nobody else's burden. In terms of, I can't let your wickedness or your righteousness do anything for me. I got to deal with my own righteousness and my own wickedness. Go ahead.
Let him that is taught in the word communicate unto him that teacheth in all good things.
In all good things. Go ahead.
Be not deceived. God is not mocked. For whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap.
He said, look here, I'm going to let you know. Don't be deceived. Because God is not mocked, or God is not deceived. For whatsoever a man soweth. Whatsoever is a big old word, y'all. Whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he reap. Whatsoever. Everything that you sow, sisters and brothers, you're going to reap. But the good part about that, the Lord is a fair God. He's a just God. So if you're going to reap righteousness, guess what you're going to do? You're going to sow that.
That's right.
But if you reap wickedness, you're going to sow that. So everybody got to get their stuff together. Get your house in order, sisters and brothers. Now let's go, we will, my brother, to Romans the 6th chapter. Romans the 6th chapter. Because the Lord, sisters and brothers, he lay everything out. You know, he lay everything out. He make it to where you don't have any excuse. You don't have any excuse. And he let you know what the penalty is for wickedness, for the things that you do. And let me tell you something about reaping what you sow as we move into Romans the 6th chapter. That the thing about it is that every single man, sisters and brothers, that sow something, you're going to reap it in this lifetime. You thought you go, well, you're going to get me in judgment. No, sir. You're going to reap what you sow. See, that verse that we just read, that's what the world calls it, karma. You know, whatever happens, it happens back to you. So if you want to say where is karma in the Bible, we just read it in Galatians 6 and 7. Whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he reap. Romans the 6th chapter, my brother, and pick it up, if you will, at verse 19. Romans 6 and 19. When you get that, read it, please.
I speak after the manner of men because of the infirmity of your flesh. For as ye have yielded your members servants to uncleanness and to iniquity unto iniquity, even so now yield your members servants to righteousness unto holiness.
He's saying in times past, sisters and brothers, whereby you have yielded your members as members of sin and unrighteousness. Because all of us can think of a time, and I hope it's in the past, that we was wretched. That we were wretched souls, living in sin, didn't care who saw us, didn't care what we were doing, didn't even think about whether the Lord was looking at us or not. He said, but then when you turn that corner and you start dealing with the righteousness of God, then go full force 100% with that righteousness system, brothers. Because you know what you're doing when you're doing that. What you're doing is that you're trying to not erase, but you're trying to equal up and let that righteousness pass that wickedness. You know, look, hey, I got $1 worth of, I got $100 worth of wickedness. Then I need to get a minimum $105 worth of righteousness. Because my righteousness is going to have to exceed my wickedness. So you always trying to put money in the bank, sisters and brothers, when it comes to serving the Lord. See, everybody don't think like that. Everybody don't think like that, sisters and brothers. You know, I can imagine thinking about the way Noah looked at it. You know, the book, you know, when you go to Genesis, the sixth chapter, it said that it repented the Lord that he had created man on this earth. You know, he wanted to get rid of him right then. But he said Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord. But then it doesn't say it in that chapter right there, but it says in the new book that Noah was a preacher of righteousness. He must have been some preacher. And I guarantee you that because the book say that when the Lord told him to build that ship and it was fully built and they went in that ship, he didn't close the door for 7 days. You know what that tell me? That some of the folks Noah had been preaching to, they may have considered it, but then their faith wasn't strong enough to go in that boat on dry ground, sisters and brothers. And see, your faith got to be, it's got to have some strength in it. Keep on going, Tom Ball.
Verse 20. For when ye were servants of sin, ye were free from righteousness. What fruit had ye then in those things whereof ye are now ashamed? And the end of those things is death.
And the end of those things were death. They were death. They didn't do you any good, sisters and brothers. The experience of being wickedness does you no good. Go ahead and read.
But now being made free from sin and become servants to God, ye have your fruit unto holiness and the end everlasting life.
Now, what does it mean being free from sin? It's a mindset, because anybody that's in the flesh has the option or the opportunity to sin. But as you grow in the word and you grow in your righteousness, then the sinning has less of a pull on you, sisters and brothers. In other words, you don't want to do it as much as you used to do it, or you don't do it as much as you used to do it, because you have a mindset that's focused, that's zeroed in on pleasing God and making sure that you building up your bank account of righteousness. It don't have the pull on you. He said, now being made free from sin, because you're not a captor of it. See, when you sin and you commit all these things, then that's when you under the law. But if you don't break the law, you ain't under the law.
That's right.
But that don't have nothing to do with whether or not we keep the law. See, people keep the law and under the law mixed all up together.
Mm-hmm.
Are you under the law? Yeah, I'm under the law, brother. No, if you under the law, you break it.
Mm-hmm.
If you keeping the law, you keeping the law. So the law don't keep you. I ain't got to worry about thou shalt not steal. That law don't even, that law does not mean anything to me. Because I don't steal. I'm not under that law. I'm not under the bondage of that law. Thou shalt not steal. I keep that law. That law under me is under my foot. Go ahead and read, my brother.
For the wages of sin is death, but the gift of God is eternal life through Jesus Christ our Lord.
He said, but the wages of sin is death. Period. What you're supposed to get for sin is death. That's what Adam and Eve got for sin. They wasn't created to die, sisters and brothers. The wages of their sin was death. Now you're going to have to die. The Lord had to go in there and change that thing up because his plans was not for man to die. That's why he said in Genesis the 6th chapter that it has, I repented or I regretted even making this man. And the Lord had to go in there and change the whole plan up. You know, the book said that he was slain from the foundation of the earth. And people said, well, you know, he knew what was going to happen. The Lord didn't know what was going to happen. He gave that man free choice, sisters and brothers. He gave that man free choice. And he said, you choose. But then when he got to Genesis 6th chapter, he said that this man was evil. And he almost said, that, look, this was a bad idea. But then he said, Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord. So Noah is a prototypical savior. Because he saved the whole mankind. Because if it wasn't for Noah, he would have just killed everything and everybody, and we would have been no more. He would have done something. Let me try something else. This didn't work. But Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord. Now we're going to move on. And after I do this next one, AJ, I'm going to swing it on over to you. Let's go to Malachi. Malachi, the 1st chapter. Because people used to tell me, you know, y'all teach a whole lot of fire and brimstone. Y'all be up there acting like the Lord is all pissed off and angry. He is. He is. Because he don't get no respect, sisters and brothers. He does not get any respect. People don't fear the Lord. They simply just don't fear him nowadays. But you know what? He patient. He might be upset, but he patient. The book saying Jeremiah, he gonna forsake his covert. And he gonna get some retribution, some repay, some get back. But the Lord all in the old, but the Lord is wondering why, you know, I made this man in my image. When he messed up and Noah found grace in my eyes, I let him keep on going. When I had my servant Moses come along, I codified the law so he can live by it and save himself. But he wondering. Let's look at it and kind of mention it in Malachi 1. We're gonna read verses 6 and 7. Malachi 1 and pick it up at verse 6. We're gonna read 6 and 7. When you get it, my brother, read it, please. Tone Bone, we can't hear you. You sound like you're muted. I think you're muted, brother.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
The law of truth was in his mouth, and iniquity was not found in his lips.
You in Malachi? Malachi 1?
Malachi. Oh, you said Malachi 1. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Malachi 1 and verse 6.
All right. A son honoreth his father, and a servant his master. If then I be a father, where is mine honor? And if I be a master, where is my fear? Saith the Lord of hosts unto you.
He said, if I be a father, if a son honors his father and a servant his master, if I be a father, where is my honor? And if I be a master, where is my fear? The Lord want to know, where's his fear? Ain't nobody fearing the Lord nowadays. Go ahead.
O priests that despise my name, and ye say, wherein have we despised thy name?
Uh-huh.
Ye offer polluted bread upon mine altar, and ye say, wherein have we polluted thee? In that ye say, the table of the Lord is contemptible.
He said, you offer polluted bread on my table. That's how you have offended the Lord. What we talking about when we say polluted bread? We talking about falsehood.
That's
We
right.
talking about false doctrine. We talking about telling the people that they don't have to keep God's law. That they don't have to keep his Sabbath days, his feast days. That they don't have to keep none of the 10 commandments. That was for the Jews. Let me tell you, sisters and brothers. People don't know Jesus is the God of the Old and the New Testament. Jesus is the God that Moses was standing at the burning bush with. But see, the thing about it, we can't teach everything on one setting, but we got some Godhead for you.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is this is upsetting the Lord. The Lord is telling you, you don't respect him, because you don't want to keep his word. You think he a cream puff. But the Lord gonna repay. We're gonna look at it some more. What you got for me, AJ?
That's excellent pointers, bro. Excellent pointers. Like you said, bro, God is not to be marked, and the wage of sin is death. So let's go to Hosea chapter 4.
Yes, sir. Hosea.
Hosea chapter 4, when you get there, my brother, pick it up at verse 1.
Hear the word of the Lord, ye children of Israel.
So we know the children of Israel was the children of Israel, the people that the Lord pointed out to be his priests. Let's see what the Lord tell them to listen to. Go ahead, my brother.
For the Lord has a controversy with the inhabitants of the land.
So he said he have a controversy, meaning he have a disagreement about their faith, about their morals, about their doctrine.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead, my brother.
Because there is no truth, nor mercy, nor knowledge of God in the land.
So right there, because there's no fear of God. They don't understand. They not living in his truth. They're not having mercy with each other. And also, there's no knowledge of God in the land.
Yes, sir.
What else, my brother?
By swearing and lying.
See that? Lying. That lying tongue. Gang don't have to keep the commandments. They eating the fruits of lies. Go ahead, my brother.
And killing. And stealing.
That's breaking the commandments, ain't it? No knowledge of God. Go ahead, my brother.
And committing adultery. They break out, and blood touches blood.
And they also blood touches blood, killing each other. Commit adultery. That's the commandments. That's the oath. That's the covenant that they took with the Lord. Okay, let's skip down to verse 5, my brother.
Therefore shalt thou fall in the day, and the prophet also shall fall with thee in the night, and I will destroy thy mother.
That mother talking about the land, Jerusalem. He ain't gonna be with the prophets no more. We ain't gonna be that light no more. When in captivity. What else it say in verse 6, my brother?
My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge.
In other words, they don't have the fear of God, and they are destroyed. And we see that until to this day. What else, my brother?
Because thou hast rejected knowledge, I will also reject thee.
So that's what the Lord tells me. Because you want to reject knowledge, he gonna also reject you as his people. Go ahead, my brother.
That thou shalt be no priest to me, seeing thou hast forgotten the law of thy God. I will also forget thy children.
And we see that until this day.
Yes,
Most of the people that's getting killed, getting destroyed is what? Our young people. Young Israelites. Because they don't know who they are. They don't have the knowledge of the true and living God. And that's what that's what he said. Right. He gave them a covenant that said, if you obey, you will be blessed. But if you disobey, you're going to be cursed. And when the curse is going to come death. Okay? Because the wages of sin is death, as Brother Nehemiah put it out there.
Yes, sir.
Okay, my brother. Now let's go to Ecclesiastes chapter 8. Just got one verse in there.
And as you go in there, AJ, the thing about this knowledge, man, he said, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. People done told me, look, I don't need no knowledge. All I need to do is believe. Yep. All I got to do is believe. If you ain't got no knowledge, what is he going to judge you by?
Right.
One thing that I found out, AJ, is common sense. It's rare. Common sense just ain't common no more.
Right.
It ain't common. You got to have some knowledge. You got to read this word. It's not a game. It's like you're supposed to be dealing with this thing like you in college.
That's right.
Like you in college.
Having the knowledge of the true and living God.
Yes, sir.
Like you said, a lot of people still, they believe Jesus, that sweet puff, that sweet Jesus.
Yeah, the Malibu one, the one with the long blonde hair.
Yeah, yes, sir. But as you said, he's a lion. Been seeing that lamb. So let's go to Ecclesiastes chapter 8. We just got one verse, verse 11. We'll get there, my brother. Go ahead.
Because sentence against an evil work is not executed speedily.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, the heart of the sons of men is fully set in them to do evil.
So, in other words, that's why people continue to sin, because ain't no judgment come to me. Y'all talk about, if I do this, I do that, this gonna happen. Or your book say this gonna happen. Your God say this gonna happen. If the head's sick, the body gonna be sick.
Right.
But hey, he's long suffering, but he will come with payback.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
He will come with payback.
Yeah,
like say, because when people, they might commit adultery, getting away with it, they might steal, or kill. But we see, even in TV right now, in the TV world, all these people doing, these rappers doing this murder and stuff, they getting away with it, rapping about it and all that.
Yeah.
And look how they getting caught up with it now.
Yeah.
So, hey, Lord will recompense.
Yeah, he will.
Okay, my brother, let's move on to Isaiah. I'm going to pass it back to you.
Okay.
Isaiah chapter 66.
Isaiah 66.
Isaiah chapter 66, we're going to pick it up at verse 15. And see, and that's why a lot of people don't understand about Jesus, because they in the New Testament. But this right here is in the Old Testament, but this talking about the future, when he coming back.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, when you get there, my brother, go ahead.
For behold, the Lord will come with fire, and with his chariots like a whirlwind, to render his anger with fury, and his rebuke with flames of fire.
The Lord, he's long suffering. Because us, hey, we get angry, we want to take it out, but the Lord, he letting all that fire, all that anger build up.
It's build up.
And when it spill over, man, it's over with. For those who ain't on his side. Go ahead, my brother.
For by fire and by his sword will the Lord plead with all flesh, and the slain of the Lord shall be many.
People don't understand that the Lord, he coming back slanging blood.
Yes, sir.
A lot of people don't understand it. Not sweet Jesus. Oh, yeah. He's
sweet
coming back to repay. Let's see who he going to repay, though, my brother.
They that sanctify themselves and purify themselves in the gardens behind one tree in the midst.
So they sanctify themselves. They making their own doctrines, going by traditions that been passed down. Eating them fruits of lies from that same tree Adam and Eve ate from. Go ahead, my brother. What else they doing?
Eating swine's flesh, and the abomination, and the mouse shall be consumed together, saith the Lord.
Right there. Even what you eat.
Yes,
sir. People don't understand that the Lord would destroy you if you don't even keep his dietary law.
He was totally destroyed.
Yeah. And we, especially among Israel, we wonder why we got the highest blood pressure, heart disease,
diabetes,
all that. Because we disobeying our God. Because we don't know our God.
Mm-hmm.
So, like I say, Jesus, he's the same as yesterday, today, and forever. So,
Yeah,
hey,
he is.
you want to know what he go do today? Go back and see what he did yesterday.
Yes, sir. You know, and that's why the book often talks about it in the New Testament, where it says, "And as it were in the days of Noah, where they were eating and drinking."
Yes, sir.
And there's a couple of places that he says, "As in the days of Noah."
Yep.
You know, the Lord is gonna double it back. He gonna do some of the same stuff that he did. But the thing about it, you know, the Lord has dealt with Israel from way back, and even unto this day, we've gotten much more wicked than them, I would say, because at least they knew of him, and they were wicked. They just wanted to do their own thing. But you got us in this time. We so bad off that we don't know him. We don't know what he's capable of. And everybody, like we said earlier, think he a cream puff. But let's look at this real quick. Let's go to Isaiah 65. Isaiah 65. And we're going to pick it up, Tom Bone, at verse 1. We're going to do 1 through 7, as a matter of fact. Isaiah 65, verses 1 through 7. When you get it, my brother, please read it.
I am sought of them that ask not for me. I am found of them that sought me not. I said, behold me, unto a nation that was not called by my name.
You got people right now that you got Gentiles, you got all kinds of people that'll look at the word, see what it says, and some of them will fall in line.
Right.
But to his people, when I say his people, I'm talking about the people that he chose to be a nation of kings and priests. They the main ones that let it go in one ear and out the other one. Keep on reading, my brother, verse 2.
I have spread out my hands all the day unto a rebellious people, which walketh in a way that was not good, after their own thoughts.
He said, which walketh in a way that was not good, and after their own thoughts, after their own doctrine, instead of the doctrine of God. All of these false doctrines that have come out, going to heaven. You can eat anything you want to. All you got to do is pray over it. You ain't got to keep no commandments. They ain't got to keep no commandments. Then I ought to be able to commit adultery with your wife. I ought to be able to covet everything that you have, because the 10 commandments say, thou shalt not covet. Thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt not steal. But he said he didn't spread his hands all out. And you ain't willing to listen. Go ahead.
A people that provoke me to anger continually to my face.
He said continually to my face. Saying that look, this pie in the sky y'all talking about, to his face. Imagine the anger that's building up. It's building up, sisters and brothers. You ever got so mad at somebody that when you thought about it, you wanted to just hit them and hope that their head just came clean off their shoulders? That's how the Lord feeling roundabout now. But people don't think it. They thinking that he's sweet Jesus. He's sweet, I know.
You good.
Go ahead on, my brother.
That sacrifice in gardens and burneth incense upon altars of brick, which remain among the graves and lodge in the monuments.
He said, which remain among the graves. That's the dead, dealing with the dead. We talking about dead spiritually, sisters and brothers. Mm-hmm. And he said, and lodge. See, a lodge is where you live, where you stay, where you get your rest and you get your relaxation and you get your rejuvenation. Lodged in the monuments. These monuments that they're talking about it being lodged in is the churches that's teaching false doctrine. Mm-hmm. Those are the monuments that he's talking about. He said, which remain among the graves, or remain among the dead in the lodge and stay in the churches that teach false doctrine. Go ahead.
Which eat swine's flesh, and broth of abominable things is in their vessels.
Now that's the Lord don't like that. Now you said, you can eat anything. The Lord is pointing it out right here. But then where you play yourself at, see, that was the Old Testament. Or you think he just didn't mean it? Or he came and he nailed eating swine's flesh to the cross. He nailed all that stuff to the cross. I can take you to Matthew 5 and 17, where it says he came that not one jot or one tittle shall in no wise be passed from the earth until all be fulfilled. How do you fulfill not even? You don't fulfill it. You just don't do it.
Don't do it. That's right.
Oh, pork is good for you. I died so you can eat pork. I died so that you can kill. Because that's the law. That's the 10 Commandments. I died so you can steal and you can covet your neighbor's wife and covet your neighbor's house. That's why I died, so you can do all those things. That's how you look when you say that the law is done away with. But the Lord gonna recompense you. And how does he feel about it? Keep on going.
Which say, stand by thyself, come not near to me, for I am holier than thou. These are smoke in my nose, a fire that burneth all the day.
He said all these people that are lodging in these monuments and eating swine's flesh and the abominable things that are in their vessels, in their bloodstream. And you say, you holy, I'm godly. God knows me and I know God, and he walks with me and he talks with me and he tells me I'm his own. He said, because you make yourself holier than everybody else. He said, these people right here, they like a smoke in my nose, a fire that burns all day. You ever ran across somebody that was smoking and they next to somebody that can't smoke, and just to mess with them, they gonna pull on the cigarette and just blow it in their nose. I know you don't like it, but I want to see you suffer. I want to see you frustrated. That's what people doing to the Lord when they don't obey. Go ahead.
Verse 6, behold, it is written before me, I will not keep silence, but will recompense, even recompense into their bosom.
He said, I'm going to recompense these people that's doing all this pork eating. I'm going to recompense these people that's pushing all this false doctrine. I'm going to recompense these people that are not doing what I put out for you to do, keeping my commandments instead of the commandments of man. He said, I will not keep silent, but I will repay, even repay unto their bosom. Go ahead.
Your iniquities and the iniquities of your fathers together, saith the Lord, which have burnt incense upon the mountains and blasphemed me upon the hills. Therefore will I measure their former work into their bosom.
He said, therefore will I measure their former work into their bosom. In other words, I'm going to put right back on them what they put on me. But see, when we read whatsoever man soweth, that shall he reap, I could have took you somewhere else. I think it's in Hosea, where he said, you sow the wind, but you reap the whirlwind. He ain't going to be fair about it, sisters and brothers. And all through this book, we can see where the Lord sends his warnings. See, the thing about it, all of us supposed to be, as the Lord commands, we supposed to be self-made gods. He already made us in his image. He gave us everything to be like him. He put it in us. Now it's up to us to be self-made. Self-made, sisters and brothers. The book, when Peter was dealing with the Lord, the Lord told him, hey, he wishes to sift you as wheat. But guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to pray for you. I'm going to pray for you. I ain't going to shield you from the world. Now, we know that he put a hedge around Job, but the book said that Job was an upright man, one that feared God and one that eschewed evil So Job built his own hedge. You think if he wasn't upright and feared God and eschewed evil, he would have put a hedge around him? Satan said that you put a hedge around him, but Job earned the hedge, sisters and brothers. He earned the hedge. You think if he was breaking God's law, he would have put a hedge around him? You think if he was breaking the Sabbath, you think if he was eating pork, if you think he wasn't keeping his law, that the Lord would have put a hedge around him? You got to earn your hedge. You have to earn your own hedge to get it wrapped around you to where Satan can't infiltrate you. But if you don't do that, you got all this coming. He said he gonna turn it back on you, and the folks that blaspheme him upon the hills, he said, I'm gonna measure their former work into their own bosom. That's what he said he's gonna do. And you can believe it a lot, but you've been told by the Bible. Mm-hmm. I just pointed it out. My brother, let's do this real quick. Let's go, if we will, to Jeremiah the 23rd chapter. Jeremiah chapter 23. Because what has happened is for a lot of folks in the world been given a false sense of security. A false sense of security, sisters and brothers. You think everything is nice. You know, online upon line, we can't read everything. But boy, if I had in this lesson the spirit of the church of Laodicea, where it talks about you thinking you rich, you got this, you got abundance, but in essence, you really are malnutrition spiritually. That you are suffering from hunger, and you got a Cadillac in your garage. You suffering from hunger, and you living out there in Atlanta. We call it Buckhead. Well, all the mansions are, but you're malnutrition. You're sick. And you think you all right, but you ain't. You not. Jeremiah 23. Pick it up, if you will, my brother, at verse 16. Jeremiah 23 and verse 16. When you get there, please read it.
Thus saith the Lord of hosts, hearken not unto the words of the prophets that prophesy unto you. They make you vain. They speak a vision of their own heart, and not out of the mouth of the Lord.
If your pastor coming to you saying, the Lord told me to tell you something about you, then say, show it to me in the Bible. I believe it's the Lord told you to tell me. If you came up to me and the Lord said, the Lord spoke to me and told me to tell you thou shalt not kill, I'd be like, okay, that sounds good, because I can read that in Exodus the 20th chapter. Mm-hmm. I'm good. You're a prophet. But I could have went there and read it. But I hear you. I'm feeling you. You ain't lying so far. But when he come to you saying, the Lord spoke to me, and he told me to tell you that you're going to get all of this substance. All you got to do is give him a little time. He going to give you substance. If you just go ahead and sow a seed, then I'm going to pour you out a blessing that you can't even receive it. Your cup's going to be overflowing. Just like, Talbone, I know you know this guy. When we was growing up, man, you remember Rev Mike? Hearing Rev Mike. Rev Mike was a black false prophet. Reverend Ike used to have people send him money, and he sent them these faith claws. And then he would get so much money, he became a rich man. Hey, Reverend Mike used to say stuff like, my garage runneth over. Not my cup runneth over. My garage runneth over. Cadillacs, Mercedes, and everything that y'all them supply for me, my garage runneth over. He said these prophets, they prophesied to you a vision out of their own heart and not out of the mouth of the Lord. The mouth of the Lord is the pages of this book, sisters and brothers. Go ahead and read.
They say still unto them that despise me, the Lord has said, ye shall have peace. And they say unto everyone that walketh after the imagination of his own heart, no evil shall come upon you.
They say you're going to have peace. They tell you Jesus is calling today. When I was little, we used to sing this. They used to sing this song. Boy, it's funny how I remember all them doggone songs when I was growing up in the Baptist church. Jesus is tenderly calling today. Calling today. Calling today. Jesus is tenderly calling today. Make you feel so at home. Make you feel so peaceful. Ain't no evil gonna come of it. Jesus would never, because he's sweet, I know. I have found a Savior, and he's sweet, I know. They don't tell you about the evil. They don't tell you about the lion. They don't tell you about blood to the horse's bridle. They don't tell you that wherever the carcasses are, there will the eagles be gathered together. They don't tell you that part. That the dead bodies are gonna be all over the place, and ain't nobody gonna bury them because there's too many. They're gonna tell the birds and the carcasses and the buzzards and all of the birds that you see out there. When you see roadkill on the road, you see all those big birds out there eating them. That's how bodies gonna be, sisters and brothers. They don't want to tell you that because they don't want to put the fear in you. But the Lord is known to put fear in people. That's why in Exodus, the 20th chapter, if we kept on reading beyond verse 17, it talked about how he wanted to see the fear in you, that you sin not. You mean the Lord want us to fear him and be scared of him? Yeah. Yeah, keep on reading, my brother. What verse are you?
Verse 18.
Go ahead.
For who has stood in the counsel of the Lord and has perceived his word and has perceived and heard his word? Who has marked his word and heard it?
Who is it that has marked the word of the Lord and heard it? Who is it in your family? Who is it in your circle? Who is it at your job that heard the word of the Lord and went against his own feelings and said, I'm going with the Lord, say, regardless of what I feel? Who in your family done that? Who in your family has decided that they wasn't going to do the status quo, but they was going to lean on God? Who was it in your family that had the spirit of Noah to build a boat on dry ground and take him and his wife and his 3 sons and their wives, and regardless of what everybody, the whole world said, they had the faith to get in the boat? Do you have the faith to get in the boat like Noah did? To do something that other people don't do so you can get what other people won't get? And that's salvation, and that's coming up in the first resurrection. But go ahead and read, brother. He said, who has marked his word and heard it? Go ahead.
Behold, a whirlwind of the Lord is gone forth in fury, even a grievous whirlwind. It shall fall grievously upon the head of the wicked.
He said it's going to fall grievously on the head of the wicked. A whirlwind of the Lord has gone forth in fury and has fallen grievously upon the head of the wicked. This ain't the devil. But who is this? Next verse.
The anger of the Lord shall not return.
He said, the anger of the Lord shall not return. What do you mean he's not return? It ain't going to let up.
Mm-hmm.
The anger ain't going to return to the suitcase he had it in. It's going to stay out the suitcase.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to go and go and go until it has accomplished what he said it was going to accomplish. Go ahead and read.
Until he have executed, until he have performed the thoughts of his heart. In the latter days, ye shall consider it perfectly.
He said, in the latter days, sisters and brothers, you will consider it perfectly, because what you have been reading in this Bible is going to come to fruition. It's going to come to pass.
Yes, that's right.
And the only ones that's going to get some relief is the ones that are taking it serious now. Go ahead and read.
Verse 21. I have not sent these prophets, yet they ran. I have not spoken to them, yet they prophesied.
He said, I have not sent these prophets, and they ran. I have not spoken to these prophets, yet they prophesied something. They prophesied out of their own, a vision out of their own mind. Because if you're going to prophesy something from the Lord in this day and time, it's what is written. Mm-hmm. It's what's written. Go ahead and finish that last verse, 22.
But if they had stood in my counsel and had caused my people to hear my words, then they should have turned them from their evil way and from the evil of their doings.
He said, if these prophets had stood in my counsel and caused my people to hear my words, then they should have turned the people, sisters and brothers, from their evil way. Just think of all of your big-time, renowned preachers of today. If they would just tell people, you need to keep the law, you need to keep the book. I could think of a couple of them. Just think if a T.D. Jakes or Joel Osteen or any of those guys made a national statement saying, look, man, we've been wrong. We got some new understanding. The Lord wants you to keep his law, keep his statutes, and keep his commandment. You're supposed to be keeping God's Sabbath day. We've been doing it wrong. Then the people would turn, sisters and brothers. They would turn because they believe on these false prophets. They would turn. But we know it didn't happen. We know it did not happen. And we're going to go to another, and I'm going to flip it back over to AJ. Let's go to Proverbs first chapter. Proverbs chapter 1. Proverbs chapter 1, and we're going to pick that up at verse 7, and then we're going to skip to 22. Proverbs chapter 1, verse 7, and then skip to 22. When you get that, Tom Bone, please read it.
The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom. And
he said the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom. So, don't you know that the fear of the Lord is a gift? Mm-hmm. It's a gift if you fear the Lord. Because if you fear the Lord, you're going to do what he say. You're going to keep yourself under subjection, your mind and body. You're going to keep it under subjection. And then if you get the gift so much that when you bring your mind and body under subjection, that you don't have regretful feelings about it. You're like, man, I did this. Then you really got to get from the Lord in. Because for most people, it is a hard thing to fear the Lord and to have the wisdom of the Lord. Skip down to verse 22.
How long, ye simple ones, will ye love simplicity? And the scorners delight in their scorning, and fools hate knowledge.
And fools hate knowledge. How long are you going to hate knowledge? How long are you going to sit there and just do what everybody else is doing instead of separating yourself and do what God tells you to do, regardless of how many other people are doing it? Go ahead and read, my brother.
Turn you at my reproof. Behold, I will pour out my spirit unto you. I will make known my words unto you.
If you have the gumption to receive it. Go ahead.
Because I have called and ye refused. I have stretched out my hand and no man regarded.
No man regards the truth of the Lord. He done stretched out his hand by his servants that are in that word. He done stretched out his hand. We get a few of them coming in, but for the most part, most people don't. Go ahead.
25. But ye have set at naught all my counsel, and with none of my reproof. I also will laugh at your calamity. I will mock when your fear cometh.
He said, I didn't say you have said it now all my counsel. In other words, you would listen to nothing I had to say and would not be reproved by the law that I have given you to save yourself. This is the second chance I done gave y'all. I almost destroyed you and Noah saved you. Then I came to Moses and I codified the law. I had it written on stones of stone. But would you listen? None would be reproved by my words. Go ahead.
When your fear cometh as desolation, and your destruction cometh as a whirlwind, when distress and anguish cometh upon you, then shall they call upon me, but I will not answer. They shall seek me early, but they shall not find me.
You mean it's gonna come a time period where you say, Jesus, Lord, help me, please, Jesus, and he ain't gonna answer you? Sweet Jesus. Yeah, he that one. He that one that's been hanging in your living room with the long blonde hair. That ain't him, but that's what you think he is. Yeah, but the real one, you gonna call on him, and he ain't gonna have nothing for you. I ain't got nothing for you, partner. Go ahead.
29. For that they hated knowledge and did not choose the fear of the Lord.
That's a big package right there. For they hated knowledge of God and did not choose the fear of the Lord. Because when you choose the fear of the Lord, you line your life up right. Go ahead.
They were none of my counsel. They despise all my reproof. Therefore shall they eat the fruit of their own way and be filled with their own devices.
You're going to get what you're going to reap what you sow. You don't want to listen to me? Okay, go ahead.
For the turning away of the simple shall slay them, and the prosperity of fools shall destroy them.
Go ahead.
But whoso hearkeneth unto me shall dwell safely, and shall be quiet from fear of evil.
He said, but whoso hearken unto me shall dwell safely, and shall be quiet of fear of evil. In other words, I'm going to protect y'all. You ain't going to go through all that drama. I'm going to deal with you nicely. But you got to put the work in right now. Go ahead, AJ, man. I ain't mean to be long-winded on you, brother.
Oh, you good, my brother? So, brother, like you said, you read early. Whatever you sow, that's what you going to reap.
Yes, sir.
If you sow wickedness, you will get wickedness. But if you sow righteousness, you will reap righteousness.
Yep.
So let's look at an example. Let's go to the book of Ruth.
Book of Ruth. Okay.
Yes, chapter 2. Give you a little rundown on Ruth. She was married to one of Naomi's sons. Naomi was an Israelite, and she lost her husband and her 2 sons, so she was there with her 2 daughter-in-laws, Oprah and Ruth.
Yep.
And Naomi tried to give all type of excuses, for Ruth to go back to her, to her hometown, go serve her gods, her family. But Ruth like, I'm staying with you.
Yes,
so
sir.
We'll see, even God will repay you when you do your righteousness. We'll pick it up in Ruth chapter 2. We'll pick it up in verse 1. Ruth chapter 2 and verse 1. And Ruth, she was a Moabite. In other words, she was a stranger.
Yep.
All right. When you get that, my brother, go ahead.
And Naomi had a kinsman of her husband's, a mighty man of wealth, of the family of Elimelech, and his name was Boaz.
Okay, go ahead.
And Ruth the Moabitess said unto Naomi, let me now go to the field and glean ears of corn after him in whose sight I shall find grace. And she said unto her, go, my daughter. And she went and came and gleaned in the field after the reapers, and her hap was to light on a part of the field belonging unto Boaz, who was of the kindred of Elimelech.
Okay, so Ruth, she was respected to her mother-in-law, and asked her mother-in-law, let her go and pick up the leftovers of the grains of the field after the reapers, after the reapers ripped the field. Okay. So she ended up on Boaz land. Let's skip down to verse 8, my brother.
Then said Boaz unto Ruth, hearest thou not, my daughter? Hearest thou not, my daughter? Go not to glean in another field, neither go from hence. but abide here fast by my maidens.
So Boaz told Ruth, hey, don't go to no other field. Be right here with my maidens, okay? So stay close by my maidens. Go ahead, my brother.
Let thine eyes be on the field that they do reap, and go thou after them. Have I not charged the young men that they shall not touch thee?
So he even charged the men, don't even touch it. Don't touch it. Don't mess with it. Go ahead, my brother.
And when thou art athirst, go unto the vessels and drink of that which the young men have drawn.
Go ahead.
Then she fell on her face and bowed herself to the ground and said unto him, why have I found grace in thine eyes, that thou shouldest take knowledge of me, seeing I am a stranger?
See how how Ruth, she humble herself. You like, how did I find grace in your eyes? Okay, I'm a stranger. We'll go see what Boaz said. Go ahead, my brother.
Boaz answered and said unto her, it has fully been showed me all that thou hast done unto thy mother-in-law since the death of thine husband, and how thou hast left thy father and thy mother and the land of thy nativity, and art come unto a people which thou knewest not heretofore.
So Boaz, he seen this was a good woman. She stayed with her mother-in-law, even the husband died. Okay, she left her father, her mother's, her land, okay, to join Israel and serve the God of Israel. Go ahead, my brother. What else he said?
Verse 12. The Lord recompense thy work, and a full reward be given thee of the Lord God of Israel, under whose wings thou art come to trust.
See how the Lord blessed her. And that's just an example of how he will also bless us when we leave things that he tells us to leave.
Yes, sir.
Man's traditions, these things that have been passed down through generation to generation that goes against the Lord, goes against his commandments. Okay, he will pay back. So let's go to Genesis chapter 12. Let's look at another example of that good reward.
Genesis
chapter 12. Genesis chapter 12. I'm going to pick it up at verse 1, my brother.
Now the Lord has said unto Abram, get thee out of thy country, and from thy kindred, and from thy father's house, unto a land that I will show thee.
So just like Abram. All right. Lord told Abraham to leave his kindred, leave his father's house, and go to this land where I will show you. Go ahead, my brother.
And I will make of thee a great nation, and I will bless thee, and make thy name great, and thou shalt be a blessing.
Go ahead.
And I will bless them that bless thee, and curse him that curse thee. And in thee shall all families of the earth be blessed.
So right here, this showing that great reward, being blessed by the God of Israel.
Yes, sir.
Love him and keep his commandments. He will give you that good payback.
Yes, sir.
If you sow righteousness, you go reap righteousness.
Yeah.
But if you sow wickedness, you go also reap wickedness.
You're gonna get that.
You get one more, bro. Verse let's go to Luke chapter 14.
Luke 14.
Yes, sir.
Luke 14.
I'm telling you, that's the biggest test in this walk. It's coming from among your people.
Yep.
If you can beat that, if you can pass that test and also deny yourself, you're enough.
You're gonna have something coming.
Yes, sir. So let's see what Jesus said. And we know to be a Abraham's seed, it was talking about Jesus. So let's go to Luke chapter 14. We'll pick it up at verse 25. Get that, my brother. Go ahead.
And there went great multitudes with him. And he turned and said unto them,
Go ahead.
if any man come to me and hate not his father and mother and wife and children and brethren and sisters, yea, and his own life also, he cannot be my disciple.
That's what Jesus said. You got to leave. And this hate mean if your father, your mother, your wife, your children, your brothers or your sisters, they still want to be in this paganism, They still want to do things on not keeping under the Lord's Sabbath day. Hey, you can't ride with them. You can't. If you do, you cannot be Jesus' disciple. What else you say, my brother?
And whosoever does not bear his cross and come after me cannot be my disciple.
You ain't gonna be a cross. You gonna have to bear.
Plain and simple.
Look at the father of faith, Abraham. Hey, he thought he had to kill his son, but he went to do what the Lord said. He had faith.
Yep.
And if I do kill him, the Lord will rise him up again.
Yes, sir.
That's the same with us. Whatever cross that we have to bear. And you know, brother. You know, when I got into the truth, passing it along, man. People were saying, AJ going around brainwashing people. Man, I got hot at first, bro. But the Lord quickened it to be like, you is. You washing their mind with this word.
That's right.
From that filthiness.
Yeah.
All that false doctrine and all that been passed around.
Yes, sir.
Okay, my brother. Let's skip down to verse 34.
Salt is good, but if the salt have lost his savor, wherewith shall it be seasoned?
That's what that salt. That's what we supposed to be. The salt of the earth.
There you go.
All right, showing people the way to the Lord. But if it loses seed, it ain't worth nothing. Go ahead, my brother.
It is neither fit for the land, nor yet for the dunghill.
Not even for the dunghill, not for the land. But what else, bro?
But men cast it out.
Mm-hmm.
He that has ears to hear, let him hear.
So
Let him hear.
You ain't got no salt. Your salt lost your favor. You getting cast out in that lake of fire.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Absolutely, AJ. Some great scriptures, man. Hey, look, and we're gonna take a pause for the cause. We want to go ahead and Lee, I think he's gonna bring up the feast days are coming up here soon. And if you can look at this, we see where the Passover is going to be Friday, April 11th at sundown until Saturday, April 12th at sundown. And at that point, you go right into unleavened bread. But the service is going to be that Friday night, April 11th at 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern. Then you got unleavened bread that starts at Saturday night at sundown, goes to Sunday at sundown, and the service is at 1 p.m. Eastern on Sunday, April 13th, and 12 p.m. Central Time. And then you can see the other ones there throughout the season. So make sure that you are in a city having the feast. We have several locations around the country here at the Israel of God. I'll be here in Atlanta, me and Tone Bone. AJ will be in Arkansas, and we're located at 4957 Redan Road, as you can see in Stone Mountain, Georgia, 30088. We're here each Saturday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. And AJ, let them know where you're located, AJ.
Right, 1604 Brentwood Drive, Pine Bluff, Arkansas, 71601.
Okay.
Our service time is at 12 o'clock Central.
All right. Amen. Amen. And then you could reach us on all points of social media. You can reach us on Instagram at IOGATL, Facebook the same, YouTube the same, and X as well. And that's at IOGATL. You can also scan the QR code to get a lot more information about us and what we do here at the Israel of God. So again, glad to be here tonight with my brother AJ and my brother Tone Bone. And we're going to open it up right now. D-Lee, do we have any questions at all?
Good evening, brothers. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, my brother.
All right, great. All right, our brother asks in 2 Kings chapter 6, verses 28 through 29, are they referring to infants?
Okay, let's see what that's all about. Let's go to 2 Kings 6. And he said 28 and 22nd King 8, 26 and 29. Okay, so let's kind of read before it, and let's back way up, and let's start at verse 15. Okay, Tom Bone, when you get there, read it. Tom Bone, you're on mute.
All right.
There we go.
And when the servant of the man of God was risen early and gone forth, behold, an host compassed the city both with horses and chariots. And his servant said unto him, Alas, my master, how shall we do? And he answered, Fear not, for they that be with us are more than they that be with them.
And he was talking about angels at that point. Go ahead.
And Elisha prayed and said, Lord, I pray thee, open his eyes that he may see. And the Lord opened the eyes of the young man, and he saw. And behold, the mountain was full of horses and chariots of fire round about Elisha.
Okay, keep going.
And when they came down to him, Elisha prayed unto the Lord and said, Smite this people, I pray thee, with blindness. And he smote them with blindness according to the word of Elisha. And Elisha said unto them, This is not the way, neither is this the city. Follow me, and I will bring you to the man whom ye seek. But he led them to Samaria. And it came to pass when they were come into Samaria that Elisha said, Lord, open the eyes of these men that they may see. And the Lord opened their eyes, and they saw, and behold, they were in the midst of Samaria. And the king of Israel said unto Elisha, when he saw them, My father, shall I smite them? Shall I smite them? And he answered, Thou shalt not smite them. Wouldest thou smite those whom thou hast taken captive with thy sword and with thy bow? Set bread and water before them, that they may eat and drink and go to their master. And he prepared great provision for them. And when they had eaten and drunk, he sent them away, and they went to their master. So the bands of Syria came no more into the land of Israel.
Okay, then skip down. We're not going to read all this. Skip down to verse 25.
And there was a great famine in Samaria, and behold, they besieged it, until an ass head was sold for 80 pieces of silver, and the fourth part of a cab of dove's dung for 5 pieces of silver. And as the king of Israel was passing up upon the wall, there cried a woman unto him, saying, Help my lord, O king. And he said, If the Lord do not help thee, when shall I help thee? Out of the barn floor, or out of the winepress? And the king said unto her, What aileth thee? And she answered, This woman said unto me, Give thy son, that we may eat him today, and we will eat my son tomorrow. So we boiled my son, and did eat him. And I said unto her on the next day, Give thy son, that we may eat him. And she had hid her son. And it came to pass, when the king heard the words of the woman, that he rent his clothes, and he passed by upon the wall, and the people looked, and behold, he had sackcloth within upon his flesh.
So the answer to that question is yeah. these were kids that the famine was so bad that they ate one son one day and ate the other son the next. And this made the king upset. What did it say? He rent his clothes. Keep on reading, Tombo.
Then he said, God do so and more also to me, if the head of Elisha, the son of Shaphat, shall stand on him this day. But Elisha sat in his house, and the elders sat with him, and the king sent the man before him. But the messenger came to him and said to the elders,
That's good, Tom Bone. But to answer that question, yeah, he said there was a great famine. But see, when that happened, the king rent his clothes. He was like, what has this come to? I mean, to me, it must have taken a lot for them to eat the child, eat each other's sons, and it literally indicated that there was in verse 25 it said there was a great famine in Samaria, and they besieged it until an ass's head was sold for 80 pieces. They was eating more than they ate more. They ate the head of horses. That had to be some famine to where there was nothing. There was no vegetation. There was no look. Before I eat a person, which I wouldn't, I think I would just die. But that's what I say. But I mean, can you imagine that it was a famine so great that they didn't have any vegetation? The least you could have done was to become a vegetarian. I've been eating all vegetables, grass, whatever I had to eat before I even thought about a person. But they ate each other's son. So it is. It's talking about children. I hope that answered your question. Because we had to read into it.
But they was even eating dawn.
Huh?
But they was even eating dawn.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
bad.
I don't know, man. You know how when you haven't faced the situation, you say what you will and you won't do.
Right.
You know. But I don't know, man. I had to be like them folks that in Revelations where they saw, when the kings of the earth and the mighty men and all those men, when they saw Jesus sitting up in the sky and they knew that this thing was real, I might have been Lord, can you just let the rocks fall on me? Don't have me to eat a person, please.
Right.
Let the rocks fall. Anything else you got for us, D-Lee?
Yes, I do. Our brother, he asks another question. It says in Joshua 15, verses 16 through 17, and in Judges 1, 12 to 13, are they referring to an uncle marrying a niece?
Okay, let's go. Leave those scriptures up there, D-Lee. Let's see, Joshua 15. Joshua 15, and let me see if we're going to need to read before. Because if we didn't read before on that other one, we wouldn't have found out what that was. Okay, Joshua 15, 16, and 17. Okay. Okay, let's do this right here. Let's start up a little bit. Because it looks like they were talking about orders where people were going to be living. And then these sons here. Started verse 9. Okay, go ahead.
And the border was drawn from the top of the hill unto the fountain of the water of Nephtah, and went out to the cities of Mount Ephraim. And the border was drawn to Baalah, which is Kirjatharim. And the border compassed from Baalah westward unto Mount Seir, and passed along unto the side of Mount Jearim, which is Chesalon, on the north side, and went down to Beth Shemesh, and passed on to Timnah. And the border went out unto the side of Ekron northward, and the border was drawn to Shikron, and passed along to Mount Baalah, and went out unto Jabneel, and the goings out of the border were at the sea. And the west border was to the great sea, and the coast thereof. This is the coast of the children of Judah round about, according to their families. And unto Caleb, the son of Jephunneh, he gave a part among the children of Judah, according to the commandment of the Lord to Joshua, even the city of Arba, the father of Anak, which city is Hebron. And Caleb drove thence the three sons of Anak, Shani, and Ahiman, and Talmai, the children of Anak. And he went up thence to the inhabitants of Debir. And the name of Debir before was Kirjasapher. And Caleb said, he that smiteth Kirjasapher and taketh it, to him will I give Aksa, my daughter, to wife. And Othniel, the son of Kenaz, the brother of Caleb, took it, and he gave him Aksa, his daughter, to wife.
Okay. Didi, put that question back up, please. Are they referring to the uncle marrying the niece? I can't clearly just say that. But what I will say, unless AJ got something on that, what I will say is that that type of stuff was going on, where people were marrying their kind of close to near kin. That definitely was going on. But unless you got something on it, AJ, let's look at the other scripture. Let's go to Judges, the first chapter. But I couldn't really just say that clearly. Judges chapter 1. Verses 12 and 13. But let's see if we need to read up a little bit. Start at verse 8. Okay, go ahead.
Now the children of Judah had fought against Jerusalem and had taken it, and smitten it with the edge of the sword, and set the city on fire. And afterward the children of Judah went down to fight against the Canaanites that dwelt in the mountain, and in the south, and in the valley. And Judah went against the Canaanites that dwelt in Hebron. Now the name of Hebron before was Kirjasapher. And they slew Shishai and Ahiman and Talmai. And from thence he went against the inhabitants of Debir. And the name of Debir before was Kirjasapher. And Caleb said, he that smiteth Kirjasapher and taketh it, to him will I give Aksa, my daughter, to wife. And Othniel, the son of Kenaz, Caleb's younger brother, took it, and have gave him Aksa, his daughter, to wife.
Okay. So that was okay. So that right there gives some clarity right there. It said, and Caleb said, he that smiteth Kirjasapher and taketh it, to him will I give my daughter Aksa to wife. And Othniel, the son of Kenaz, Caleb's younger brother, took it, and he gave. Well, actually, Kenaz was Caleb's brother, but Kenaz was the father of Othniel, so he basically married his cousin. That was his cousin that he married. A lot of that's going on today. A lot of that is going on today, but that looks like he married. In actuality, he married his first cousin, because that was his brothers. It was two brothers, and their kids got married. So I think that not it wasn't a niece, but it was a cousin on cousin. That's what that was. All right, I hope that answers the question for you, my brother. Dealey, you got anything else for us?
Yes, we do. Isaiah says, good evening, family. Peace and blessings from Trinidad and Tobago. In Isaiah chapter 29, verses 17 through 24, can you give some connecting scriptures to put a timestamp as to when this event will occur?
So let's go to Isaiah 29. 17 through 24. Okay, so let's for context, let's read 16. 16 don't really have anything to do with the rest of it, I don't think, but we're still gonna read into it. Go ahead and read 16.
Surely your turning of things upside down shall be esteemed as the potter's clay. For shall the work say of him that made it, he made it not? Or shall the thing framed say of him that framed it, he had no understanding? Is it not yet a very little while, and Lebanon shall be turned into a fruitful field, and the fruitful field shall be esteemed as a forest? And in that day shall the deaf hear the words of the book, and the eyes of the blind shall see out of obscurity and out of darkness. The meek also shall increase their joy in the Lord, and the poor among men shall rejoice in the Holy One of Israel. For the terrible,
hold for a second. It said, "Then the poor among men shall rejoice in the Holy One of Israel." That seems like the Lord when the Lord is back. But let's just keep reading into it. Go ahead.
For the terrible one is brought to naught, and the scorner is consumed, and all that watch for iniquity are cut off.
Go ahead.
That make a man an offender for a word, and lay a snare for him that reproveth in the gate, and turn aside the just for a thing of naught. Therefore thus saith the Lord, who redeemed Abraham concerning the house of Jacob. Sorry, let me read that over. Therefore thus saith the Lord, who redeemed Abraham concerning the house of Jacob. Jacob shall not now be ashamed, neither shall his face now wax pale. But when he seeth his children, the work of mine hands in the midst of him, they shall sanctify my name, and sanctify the Holy One of Jacob, and shall fear the God of Israel. They also that erred in spirit shall come to understanding, and they that murmured shall learn doctrine.
Yeah, that's when the Lord come back. And we don't necessarily try to predict that date. But that scripture right there is alluding to when the Lord is back on earth. And I think that the one of the first scriptures that actually kind of opened my eyes to that was verse 18 and verse 19. Really, that's when the Lord is going to be back, when the deaf is going to hear. So when the Lord come back and we dwelling in the land, it's going to be a monumental change of everything. Once he has beat down all of the opposition in this world, then he's going to you probably won't have any deaf and dumb saints. Everybody's going to be able to speak. Everybody is going to be able to hear. And then in that last one really hit it off real good when he said, they also that err in spirit shall come to understanding, and they that murmur shall learn doctrine. So it ain't going to be no opposition to anything at that point. And, so that right there is the coming of the Lord. I wouldn't try to put a date. We don't try to put dates on the coming of the Lord, but we know the book said the sun and the moon shall be darkened, and the day of the Lord is going to be a terrible day according to him. But we don't like to put a date on that. But in terms of a time stamp, if we were to categorize it, it would be when the Lord has come back and is dwelling in Zion, and he has put down all rule from all opposition all over the earth. Anything you want to add to that, AJ?
No, sir, you got it.
Okay. All right. Looks like we came up on the time. Anything else in there, Dilly? Okay. What is this I've been hearing about the 3 days of darkness? The 3 days of darkness. Now, I haven't heard of 3 days of darkness. I wish it would be nice if you'd have like a scripture reference of that. But 3 days of darkness, I haven't heard of that. I know that when the Lord was crucified, you know, it said that darkness covered the earth from the 12th hour until the 9th hour. But in terms of 3 days of just being dark, I haven't heard of that. Now, when the Lord talk about the day of the Lord and it being a day of darkness, then that right there is not necessarily darkness as in black darkness in terms of the sun and the moon and all that. Now, what we can do is let's go real quick to Joel, the 3rd chapter. Joel chapter 3. And this is when the Lord is coming back. And it's something that we call the day of the Lord. And my brother, Joel, the 3rd chapter, and I want you to pick it up at verse 9. Joel 3 and 9, if you will. Okay, when you get there, please read it.
Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles. Prepare war. Wake up the mighty men. Let all the men of war draw near. Let them come up. Beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. Assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about. Thither cause the mighty ones to come down, O Lord. Let the heathen be weakened and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat.
Now he said, look here, proclaim ye this among the Gentiles. Get your folks ready. Get your men of war ready. He said, beat your plowshares into swords. In other words, get ready because I'm coming. I don't want you to be unarmed when I come, because I want you to think you're going to get somewhere with it, but you ain't going to get nowhere. And he said, let the heathen be awakened, he said, and come to the valley of Jehoshaphat. And for there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about. And the valley of Jehoshaphat is basically symbolically called the valley of where Jehovah will judge. Where Jehovah will judge. That's when the east and the west gonna come together, and then they're gonna get it on. And then the Lord gonna do the cleanup work. He gonna do the cleanup work. But keep on reading so we can get to where we want to go.
Put ye in the sickle, for the harvest is ripe. Come, get you down, for the press is full, the fats overflow, for their wickedness is great. Multitudes, multitudes in the valley of decision.
He said multitudes, multitudes in the valley of decision. Why is it the valley of decision? Because it is the decision who gonna rule this earth, man or God. Let's decide this thing right now. Let's go and get it on. Let's do this. That's what the Lord is saying. But then I want you to pay close attention to verse 15. Read it, my brother.
The sun and the moon shall be darkened, and the stars shall withdraw their shining. The Lord also shall roar out of Zion, and utter his voice from Jerusalem. And the heavens and the earth shall shake. But the Lord will be the hope of his people, and the strength of the children of Israel.
Now, that's what they're talking about. I don't see no 3 in there anywhere. But he said multitudes, multitudes in the valley of decision. And he said the sun and the moon shall be darkened, and the stars shall withdraw their shining. Do you know that if the sun is darkened and the moon is darkened and you ain't got no stars in the earth, you can't even see the hand in front of your face. But he didn't say how long that was going to be. He didn't say. So we don't know how long that's going to be. That could be for a couple of hours. That could be for a few days. That could be 3 days. Where the Lord is whooping on people, they don't even know where they're getting hit from. You know? But as far as the 3-day thing specifically, if it's in there, I haven't come across it. You came across that, AJ?
No, sir.
3 days of darkness.
No.
There was something that I looked up. This was out of Exodus chapter 10, verse 22, when it talks about darkness was in the land of Egypt for 3 days. But I don't know if the sister was saying if there's going to be anything like in the
The
future.
future.
Right, right. So I think she was more so speaking of what's going to happen, like, down the road versus what has happened in Egypt.
Okay. But down the road, I haven't heard of 3 days.
Right.
All right. Well, we have about 3 more questions to go. Let me pop this one up right here. All right. So our viewer asks, "What is the prayer you should pray for your enemies? I have racist neighbors who are causing me distress. What is the prayer you should pray for your enemies?"
Let me see if I can find that. Okay, let's go to Matthew. Let's go to Matthew, the 5th chapter. He said, I have racist neighbors. Okay, let's go. Let's start at verse 38. Verse 38. Matthew 5 and 38. Go ahead, Tombo. You're on mute.
Ye have heard that it has been said, an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. But I say unto you, that ye resist not evil. But whosoever shall smite thee on thy right cheek, turn to him the other also.
Mm-hmm. So it's some things you're supposed to have a little patience on. They acting crazy. You have a little patience. You don't do no get back. But you ain't got but 2 cheeks. Okay. You ain't got a third one. When I run out, if you done slapped one and slapped the other one, then I done ran out of cheeks, and then you got some smoke coming. But those cheeks are patience. That's patience, okay? But keep going.
And if any man will sue thee at the law and take away thy coat, let him have thy cloak also. And whosoever shall compel thee to go a mile, go with him twain. Give to him that asketh thee, and from him that would borrow of thee, turn not thou away. Ye have heard that it has been said, thou shalt love thy neighbor and hate thine enemy. But I say unto you, love your enemies, bless them that curse you.
You're on mute now. Yeah, start at verse 44 again.
Okay. But I say unto you, love your enemies, bless them that curse you, do good to them that hate you, and pray for them which despitefully use you and persecute you, that ye may be the children of your Father which is in heaven. For he maketh his sun to rise on the evil, on the good, to rise on the evil and on the good, and sendeth rain on the just and on the unjust.
That's it. He said it in verse 44, and pray for them that despitefully use you and persecute you. And in the end, if we to jump down, go ahead and jump down to verse 48.
Be therefore perfect, even as your Father which is in heaven is perfect.
And that's what we're striving for, and that is perfection. That's what we're going after.
That's one of them crosses you got to bear.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, D-Lee, go ahead with the next one. I hope that helped you out, my sister.
All right. Let's see here. Our next one is Sister Paula here, and she says, I haven't had Sunday worshipers ask me about the time of the Great Tribulation. I share scriptures that explains it is 3.5 years. Why and where do they believe it is 7 years?
Let me see. Let me see if I can try to decipher the seven. So I think they doing 3.5 and adding 3.5 more to
that Daniel.
huh?
That Daniel, when they think it's 7 years. Yeah, like you said, they put that 3.5 with 3.5.
Yeah. What part of Daniel you going to?
I think it's Daniel 9.
Because when they talk about the times and the dividing of times, that's 3.5 years.
Right.
And Sister Paula, when they talk about that 7 years, are they able to explain to you where it is? Where you got it?
I think it's that Daniel chapter 9, verse 25.
9 and 25.
Mm-hmm. When they say that 7 weeks.
Okay. Go ahead and read 25.
9 and 25.
Yeah.
Know therefore and understand that from the going forth of the commandment to restore and to build Jerusalem unto the Messiah the Prince shall be 7 weeks, and 62 weeks. The street shall be built again, and the wall even in troublous times.
See, right there, I don't see how they get that from there. I really and truly don't see how they get that from there. And I don't know if they can articulate the 7 years of tribulation, or if they just going by what somebody said. Huh?
Get down to verse 27.
Verse 27.
Yeah, because I believe they think the Messiah that is talking about the Antichrist or the beast, but not understanding talking about Jesus.
Okay, yeah, read that verse, Tom Bone.
27.
Yeah.
And he shall confirm the covenant with many for 1 week. And in the midst of the week, he shall cause the sacrifice and the oblation to cease. And for the overspreading of abominations, he shall make it desolate, even until the consummation, and that determined shall be poured upon the desolate.
Okay. Yeah, I can see where they may get that from there, but they're not reading that in context. Right. Yeah, they're looking at a week as being 7 so-called prophetic years, but that ain't got nothing to do with the tribulation. Nothing to do with the tribulation. So, Sister Paul, I believe that that's probably where they get it from. But then I would like to know from you when I see you, whenever that's going to be. I won't be here this week. I'll be in New Jersey. But I would like to know if this is someone who is explaining it to you, or if it's just something that they heard. All right. So, Dealey, what's the last question?
All right. Our last question here is our sister asks, is the festival of first fruits something we should celebrate separately, or is it a part of Pentecost?
Let's go to Leviticus 23. And I'm assuming that that's the scripture reference. I'm just assuming that. Okay, go ahead and pick that up, if you will. That pick up a verse. Let's just start at the Feast of Love. Pick up at verse 4.
These are the feasts of the Lord, even holy convocations, which ye shall proclaim in their seasons. And the 14th day of the first month at even is the Lord's Passover. And on the 15th day of the same month is the feast of unleavened bread unto the Lord. 7 days ye must eat unleavened bread. In the first day you shall have an holy convocation. Ye shall do no servile work therein. But ye shall offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord 7 days. And the 7th day is an holy convocation. Ye shall do no servile work therein. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, When ye be come into the land which I give unto you, and shall reap the harvest thereof, then ye shall bring a sheaf of the first fruits of your harvest unto the priest. And he shall wave the sheaf before the Lord, to be accepted for you. On the morrow after the Sabbath, the priest shall wave it. And ye shall offer that day when ye wave the sheaf and he lamb without blemish of the first year for a burnt offering unto the Lord.
Okay, you can stop it right there. So when we talk about, if somebody is talking about the feast of the first fruits, it is really not a feast. If you say it is a feast, it would be part of the beginning part prior to the feast of Pentecost. So it's not really a feast, but when people say the feast of the first fruits, they're talking about Pentecost.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they're talking about, because it is the wave offering is waved, but that is after the Passover, after the Feast of Unleavened Bread, and then then you count 7 Sabbaths after the sheaf offering has been waved. So that's after the Lord then got up. So I think that you have some Orthodox people that actually celebrate the Feast of the First Fruits, but that's in between unleavened bread and Pentecost. But as we can see, there's not an official Feast of the First Fruits, but there is a First Fruits, which is Jesus literally rising up and waving the sheaf offering.
Mm-hmm.
And then you count 7 Sabbaths after, and then you add 1 day. That's the 49th day, and that's when we had the Feast of Pentecost. But it's not technically a feast. But some people kind of loop it in with the Feast of Pentecost. So I hope that answered your question. And again, we enjoyed you today. We hope that that we've said something to inspire you to understand that the Lord will repay, and that it is incumbent upon each and every one of us to make sure we stay on his right side, to make sure we're getting ready now, to make sure that we don't have any excuse, to make sure that we put something into our spiritual account right now, because the Lord is going to be unrecognizable to 90% of the world. They're not going to know what hit them. So those of us who have been gifted with the fear of the Lord will be the ones. And we hope that everybody will attain that. If you ain't dead, you still got time. Still got time to acquire the fear of the Lord. And that is simply just doing what he says and rejecting the world. That's all that is. That's all that is. So I thank my brother AJ. I thank my brother Tom Bone for putting in the service and working in the vineyard. Know again that we are here each Wednesday night. Somebody is going to be laying that word down in an uncut fashion, line upon line and precept upon precept. What we'd like for you to do now is to continue this right on over to the Riverdale Bible study, where they just have straight Q&A. And we thank you so much for being with us. Again, we have 4957 Redan Road in Stone Mountain, Georgia, each Saturday at 1 p.m. And we have the address for the Pine Bluff class up there, 1604 Brentwood Drive in Pine Bluff, Arkansas. And their information is there for you to either email them or you can call them. But until next time, sisters and brothers, when you open your Bible, study it, and just make sure it's line upon line and precept upon precept. Have a good night.
This is an IOG production. Well, all right. We going line upon line. We going line upon line. This line upon line. Precept upon precept. Yep. This is line upon line. All eve, all day, trying to find out what the books say. This is line upon line. Precept upon precept. Yep. This is line upon line. All eve, all day, trying to find out what the books say. Cause the Lord don't play. It was written, no time for debate. Time is short, no time for delay. See, I wanna make it. Because of that, a saint gotta read and take hold of facts. And if he choose not to, behold a rap. Cause God is not mocked, take note of that. From Genesis to Revelation. If they use not, they a child of Satan. And I ain't hating. In fact, I'm just speaking the truth. And this hop is in my blood, it's been there from a youth. So with witnesses, we coming with two. Testifying testimonies, it's the old and the new. Shining light on the book for those with no clue. It's the IOG, you know how we do. This is line upon line. All eve, all day, trying to find out what the books say. This is line upon line. Precept upon precept. Yup. This is line upon line.